Welcome back. Under the leadership of the organization CASES, the ROAR program, which stands for Reframing Opportunities, Alternatives, and Resilience, assists NYC youth and young adults ages 16 to 27 facing challenges within the criminal justice system. The program aims to provide an alternative to incarceration. CASES Senior Director for Policy and Advocacy, Nadia Chait, and ROAR Director Thaddeus Canty join me to discuss. Thank you both so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Now, can you first just tell me a little bit more about ROAR and its beginnings?
So ROAR is one of the oldest programs with the CASES organization. It started out as the court employment project that served, this is an alternative to incarceration program for youth and young adults between the ages of 16 and 24 at the time. When the inception of ROAR expanded that to ages 16 through 27, and since then we have been providing services to the community as an alternative to incarceration to help transform mindsets.
Now, I want to talk about some of the challenges that Bronx youth could be facing, and the importance of ROAR to step in. Can you just tell us what some of those challenges are?
Some of the major challenges are unemployment, poverty, homelessness, high school dropout rate is high. And so what ROAR aims to address is these challenges and help them overcome those things by providing services that address these particular needs.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about CASES. We had the opportunity to meet CASES before, but can you tell us a little bit more about how the organization helps ROAR kind of assist Bronx youth with this?
Yeah, so CASES is a large organization. We have a range of programs for people who are court involved, from alternatives to incarceration, other youth-focused programming, mental health treatment, and we're really, all over the Bronx trying to help our young people access opportunity. It's right there in ROAR's name, and transform their lives. But Thaddeus can speak a little bit more about the specific services of ROAR.
So the specific services that we offer is academic and vocational training. We also offer trainings that will help them get like OSHA certificates and things like that. We also provide services surrounding
Well, that's okay. Well, I'm just curious to know. I want to talk about education because that's a really important factor, especially since we're dealing with the youth. Can you explain why it's so important that while these young people are facing maybe some of these criminal justice challenges, that education remains a priority?
Yes, because as we know that the lack of education leads to criminal behavior in some cases, and when you don't have the proper education to be able to figure out what you want to do in life, then you're just left in limbo in your life. And so by us providing services that help them with academic services will help them to transcend those obstacles that they face and and get back on track with their lives.
And what are some of the just areas of support that these people or these young people are facing? What are some areas of support that ROAR steps in to kind of help them with?
Right. So ROAR steps in. So we have a multidisciplinary team that on ROAR. So we have a team leader who oversees the daily operations of the program. We have a court advocate who goes to court and represent our participants in court. They are the liaison between judges and district attorneys and all the legal stakeholders that's around their case. We also have a youth development coach who serves like as a primary mentor to them to help them guide them through whatever it is that they are going through to help them reach and attain their goals. We also have an activities and engagement specialist who will, line them up with trips, take them out on academic trips and, fun and social trips like the movies or museums and things like that. And also, if some of our participants, they come to our program where they don't have certain vital documents like their birth certificate, their social security card, or they need, want to get their driver's license. So we escort them to these places and we pay for it, and we just put things in their path where they can be able to, get the documents and things like that that they need to, continue on.
Now, upon hearing this, one thing I really love to hear was that they're still taking trips because when we think about it, these are children, a lot of them. Can you explain the importance of kind of, despite some of the challenges they may have faced or, the path that they took, just remembering that a lot of these people are children and kind of making sure that they kind of stay in tune with that youthful side of themselves?
Yes, I think that is very important to just get them out of what they see every day in their communities. They may see a lot of things that just aren't fun in their communities. So being able to take them outside of their communities, take them on trips, you get to see the kid come out in them, because a lot of times, unfortunately in the communities, they gotta try to uphold a sense of bravado in the community. And, they really are missing that time where they can just be a kid, like, you know what I'm saying? And so there has been times where we've taken them out on trips and you just notice the difference in them when they're outside on these different trips.
I love to
yes.
hear that. Thank you so much for sharing that because that brought a smile to my face. So I'm sure that it'd make a kid that's kind of dealing with these challenges happy. So I love to hear that. Now I want to talk about the role of a youth development coach. Can you just tell me a little bit more about what that is and the impact that it has on the kids?
Yes. So as I mentioned before, our youth development coaches serves as the primary mentor for our participants. So they work with them one-on-one, they give them individualized coaching sessions, just listening to them, just being an ear for them to unpack anything that they're going through and helping them to reach their goals, whatever they are. So our youth development coaches, give a sense of empowerment. It's just empowering our participants to be able to know that, like, hey, we got your back. We're going to help you through whatever obstacles you're facing and, help you reach your goals. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, Nadia, I'm curious to, hear from your perspective, just tell me a little bit more about, just what you see the ROAR program doing and how it's impacting, inner city youth, especially when we talk about places like the Bronx.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think unfortunately, and Thaddeus has talked about this, the youth that we serve have often experienced just immense challenges in their lives and have not been met with resources, have not been met with opportunities for investment. And so we look at a program like ROAR as, intervening at this sort of critical moment in a young person's life where they are court involved. It is an alternative to incarceration. So clearly something has happened there, right? But as really, this is a moment to help that young person transform their life in a positive direction. And I think when we look at the Bronx, which has unfortunately a very high incarceration rate compared to some of the other boroughs, it's really about giving people what the tools that they need to be employed, to contribute to their community, to be active and engaged parents. And when we think about things like closing Rikers, which we really support as an organization, programs like ROAR are how we get there, and they're how we really create that safety in our community where our young people are in school, are working instead of, engaging in activities that we really don't want to see.
Now, I would love to expand on the Close Rikers campaign, and I understand that your organization supports that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that campaign and why it's so impactful for the Bronx?
Absolutely. So, Rikers is really a stain on our city. It's a place that is a site of immense human rights abuses. It's a place where both people who are incarcerated and correction officers really don't have even a basic sense of safety in their day-to-day. And so we are proud to support the campaign to close Rikers, which will close Rikers Island and replace it with borough-based jails. So, there would be a jail in the Bronx that would be much easier for family members to visit, much easier for people who are there to access services, to just get to their court dates. One of the big challenges with Rikers is it is an island sort of in the middle of its own, set of rivers. And so often people miss their court dates because correction officers are not, bringing people there. So they're staying on the island for longer than they should because they're not able to go to court. And it will also reduce the footprint of our city's incarceration, so fewer people could be incarcerated. And so we really think, programs like ROAR are the solution. We know when we put people in jail, the things that they are learning are not the things that we want our young people to be learning, right? They're seeing violence. They're seeing people not be treated as humans. They're seeing, we all see the news reports, really, really horrifying things. And instead, if we can serve those young people in the community,
Yes.
match them with that youth development specialist, that's what's really going to make our community safe and help our young people to show up in the ways we want them to.
And I also want to stress
Yes.
that it's an alternative to incarceration program, which means that there will still be some development, and I'm sure there will still be an opportunity for these young people to reflect on, maybe why they made the choices that they made. Can you talk about the importance of, having this program as an alternative to incarceration?
Yes, it is extremely important because an alternative to incarceration will not only just help reduce the recidivism, but it also will help our participants be able to find their way in life, because we have a wraparound support of services that we can offer them that can help empower them to get where they need to be in life. So when you're dealing with people that come from these inner city communities and they're seeing so much destruction and just mayhem around them in their lives, like they come to think that this is how they're supposed to act. Like this is because they come from these communities, this is the normal behavior. It becomes almost normalized in them. But our alternative to incarceration program will help change that mindset, help you change and know that there are different options that exist outside of what you see every day in your community. You are able to, just have your mind be opened up to a lot of different avenues that can help you explore, like this is the way to go. And as an alternative to incarceration, RAW is committed to helping these young people transcend above all of these different obstacles they're facing. And like I always say, we just transforming mindsets. We just want to put their minds in a better space. And that is much better than sending a young person to Rikers Island or to an upstate prison somewhere where they're not getting they're not seeing these things that can help them turn their lives around.
Well, I want to thank you both so much for joining us and sharing this information with our community, because as you mentioned, the Bronx is unfortunately one of the places affected by this pretty heavily. So once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
To find out more about WAR, visit the Cases website at cases.org. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us and you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recable cast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon File Channel 33, or watch anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Jaime on Wednesday and with Rena Valentine on Friday. I'm Kibin Alleyne, wishing you and yours safety and wellness now and always. See you next time.